welcome to Practical Access. I'm Lisa Deeker.
And I'm Rebecca Hines.
Our favorite topic.
Today, Lisa, I kind of wanted to dig into communication.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. So
it's only about talking, right? No,
it's all about talking, in which you are definitely an expert. So communication is kind of on my mind right now for a variety of reasons. One is because I am so interested in collaboration among teachers, and not just co-teachers,
Right.
but all teachers.
Any teacher.
Yeah, any teacher. So communication is really on my mind, and also for students. And I know that you've been really emphasizing in a lot of episodes this idea of more student-to-student conversation and teacher side talk, etc. But getting started with all of that, is contingent on a lot of things. One is kids having some kind of instruction in communication. They're not necessarily aware of what a good, peer-to-peer conversation even sounds like or looks like.
You mean flipping someone off isn't a good way to get started?
For some, I guess it works. I don't know. But in the classroom, I don't recommend it.
No, me either.
So here's the first thing about communication, and I'll tell you, my sister.
Yeah.
And, we've had Cheryl on before. So my sister is an actress, and I've talked about how, as somebody who has been on a TV show that is improv-based, and who has taught courses in improv, she definitely knows how to get a message across, not only verbally, but also non-verbally.
Absolutely. That's so important.
Yeah, and so that's a big piece of it, is how do things look.
I love to watch her, and I can see her voice and see her face. Like, that's my favorite part of the show. It's not her words. Her words are good too, but her face. I mean, it's really powerful. If you get a chance, you should look at that, because it is hilarious.
Lisa
to watch.
Deeker plugging Cheryl Hines.
But it's true.
Yes, it's true. But more importantly, what I've realized over the years, I'm lucky to have a sister who is so much fun. But the thing that Cheryl brings, when you meet her, and you've met her, to any room, is a sense of warmth, a sense of everybody's here together to have a good time. You like to talk about a party, which is ironic if you knew Lisa. So this idea of she communicates nonverbally through her facial expression, through her body language. No matter what the setting, you know what? Everything's going to be okay. This is going to be good. And I think, in thinking about her career, because she's been working, in the really tough field for, over 25 years. Sorry, Cheryl. And people want to work with her.
Yeah.
I ask myself, how come Cheryl keeps getting these shows? Like, what? She's been on one show that's been on 20 years, and she's asked to do all these projects when so many people can't find work in a really competitive field. And I've realized it is because she really clearly understands how to make people feel good.
Yeah.
And that's something that we need now more than ever.
Absolutely.
In our profession. So what do you do, to make somebody feel good? What do you do to put them at ease, And I said that nonverbal piece, more than 90% of what we communicate is nonverbal.
Yeah.
Lisa, when you stand up and you get ready to talk to a big audience, for example, what are you trying to communicate nonverbally?
Yeah, I think the first thing is really that presence, that I'm with you. I'm not here to tell you. And I think that's really hard for a lot of people is, well, if you're in the room as the expert, I come in as the co-teacher, I'm the expert. I come to the parent conference, I'm the expert. No, you're really not. The parent's the expert in the room, by the way, but because they know the kid better than anybody. But honestly, it doesn't matter how your expertise is. It's what Cheryl does well. It's what you do well. I'm here to do this with you and learn with you. And I think that presence of eye contact, calming, believe it or not, as the crazy hyper person that I am, I usually start very calm to bring everybody in, and a lot of warmth. I think that's just really important the first time you meet somebody.
Right. And
and listening.
And listening. But let's take that even down to the kid level. Imagine that. You walk into your classroom. We start every, school year with, and I understand why. Oh, here's the rules and here's the syllabus and all of this. But the first thing we need to establish is this feeling of we're a team.
Yeah.
No matter who's in there, your students, your paraprofessionals if you're working with them, but we have to feel like a team, and we have to feel like we're going to have a good experience together. And that's going to look different for a lot of different people. You know, everybody has different styles. I tell a story often about nonverbal communication. I have a friend who's much younger than me, much prettier, better dancer, everything. But she won't go out anywhere that there's dancing with me because it drives her crazy that I get asked to dance a million times. And she's just standing there. And she's like, Grandma, what's your secret? And I'm like, look, kid, let me tell you something. You know, anybody over there who feels like dancing right now is looking over here thinking, she's old, but she looks friendly. And because I'm over here smiling and you look mean.
Yeah.
You have
Not
to be
me.
not you. You'd have to be the bravest person in here to come ask you to dance because it looks like you're going to say no.
Yeah.
You know, they see me out here dancing with, you know, they know that I'm going to do what I can to make sure that we're all having fun. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
so the one thing that I really learned from that though is she looked back at me because I really did say that, you know, I look friendly, you look mean, and she said, I'm smiling on the inside. Like, well, great. If they have a good 10 years to get to know you like I do, they're going to really see that. But right now, if you want to dance right now, smile right now. Yeah. And I think that sometimes it's really hard and it feels artificial if we're not naturally that person. Right. If we're not somebody who smiles, disclose early on. Look, you guys, we're all in this together. I'm excited to be in this together. Don't expect me to be I'm not a cheerleading type of teacher, you know, but I care about you, you know, we have to communicate that.
Well, and it's funny because we're talking about siblings, so I'll throw in a plug. My brother, who was the CFO in Washington, D.C., and now is the vice provost and CFO at the University of Kansas, I laugh because we're very different. If you met him, and sorry, Jeff, but we're very different, and he would agree with that. But he has a really weird job, is to tell people bad news about money a lot. Yeah. And I think the two things I've learned from watching him and some very high profile politically, first of all, he keeps it really simple. Right. Like you talk about finance simple for message. Dummies, like it's dummy to dummy to say, look, this is how much money you have, this is how much we don't have, and if you want to do this, this is what you're gonna have to do. Absolutely. But I think the second thing is when things are really difficult and it's on his shoulder, he never laughs at anyone, but he does laugh a lot. Yeah. And so people are like, how can you laugh when it's a hard, crazy conversation? He's like, because I can make a joke and everybody then wants to listen to the rest of my message. Right. But if I make it, you know, so one of his statements was, we don't pay for potholes in Washington, D.C. And I was like, why did he open with that? He said, because every 4 years we elect a new president and they fill in all my potholes. So I don't even need that in my budget. But again, everybody listened to the message because they're like, why is this person talking about potholes? So I think it's simple, but fun messages, I think also is just something I always think about when I'm trying to communicate. Yeah, definitely. It's clear messaging. You and I talk about that all the time. Absolutely. We have lines that we just repeat over. We have our broken record things for things that we really believe in. So it doesn't matter if you're a naysayer. As a teacher, no matter what a kid did, I didn't sit there saying a million things. I said, that's not appropriate. And I put my hand up and I walked away. Like whatever it was, if they were cussing, you know, that's not appropriate. Yeah. And even with Cheryl, since I kind of led with her, you know, we don't always agree on everything, but we are so good just from, you know, of course, a lifetime of communicating. We can get to a place in a conversation where we realize I'm not going to change your mind, you know, her mind, and she's not going to change mine. So we're like, okay, well, we're going to walk away from that because I understand. I hear you. I see what you think. That's fine. Let's move on. And I think for teachers who are trying to collaborate, we have to be able to do that too. It has to be, listen, I respect what you're saying. Yes. I get it. You're welcome to believe that, but here's what I believe. Yeah. We don't have to agree, but we have to move on. Yes. And I think sometimes when we're trying to work with other people, whether it's teachers, administrators, you know, we have to be better at not taking it with us. I agree. So it's like, what's next? We see, okay, great. What's next? And sometimes somebody has to come in and make the decision. If we're teachers, a third party decides something, okay. But we just agree, as a person, it's not about you. Right. Here's our impasse. And I'll just end with, you know, humor is great. Don't make fun of somebody, but don't be afraid to laugh at yourself. Because when you laugh at yourself, others feel a little more comfortable.
Yeah. Well, I think that that's something that, again, I've had a lifetime of. So if, when you're thinking about it, I'm going to tie it to a topic that we've talked about a lot, which is, co-teaching. So one little tip for co-teachers is at least put the other person, if you find yourself walking into a room to teach with someone else, make sure that when that person comes in, even if they're a minute or two late because they had to help somebody in the hall or something else, give them a look, a smile, some kind of reassurance that you're in the right place. We're going to have a great day.
Great. Well, if you have questions for us, please send us a tweet at Access Practical, or you can join us on our Facebook at Practical Access.